Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Saturday mornings edition. We welcome you on this rainy, balmy March 7th morning. Today, we have on deck Jim Nardone, former chief of police for the Trenton Police Department. Our Downriver brother. What's up, Jim?
Good morning, Vanessa. Good morning, Allan. Good morning to all our friends out there. We're happy to see you this morning.
And we also have on deck, and he didn't even notice, I got something for you.
Oh, wow. Represent. I need those.
Yeah, let me take it off. We got Eastside Al.
I thought it was a green. You had your Spartan green on
there.
It's
these earrings says Eastside. This says Detroit. Anybody knows me knows I lived all over the city of Detroit. But anyway, we have Allan Lengel, owner of Deadline Detroit. You still contribute to the Washington Post, right?
It's been the last time I went up to Grand Blanc in September and worked one day for them. They called me to go out there.
So, okay, and he's also the host of the week that was to come on every
actually, our
Friday
host
morning.
is Saeed Khan. He's actually the professor from Wayne State, who's an expert on the Middle East and stuff, which has been great. But he's actually the host, but I help run it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Allan? So I was on a plane and I asked this young lady about Allan Lengel. She knew Allan Lengel. And she talked about what he does on Fridays. What do you do on Fridays on your own that's so insightful to people?
On Facebook. It started back around the pandemic in like March 2020, where I started. I lit my mother's Sabbath candles, and then I put a couple sentences of wisdom, and then because people were freaking out. If you all remember back in March 2020, we were all like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die! This thing is spreading." And so I started doing that, and then I expanded it, and I've been doing it now for over 5 years, where I include a little intro to whatever thoughts might be, and sometimes like Zen Buddhist centered, and then because I've been reading Buddhist books since like my friend Tom Berkowitz gave me a handbook to Higher Consciousness when I was like 20 or something like that. I've been reading the book since. And so then I do a bunch of quotes. I scour the internet for quotes that are meaningful. And then I find some jokes. And so I post it every Friday. So people look, I mean, we're all like so stressed out over the world. The world's just constantly in chaos. And I think people are looking for something. So it's nice that I'm able to.
So you're giving them words of encouragement and some information and some guidance.
Right. I mean, this time I talked about war and just how I tried to put it eloquently, and then
You do a good job, because I comment. I don't know if you notice I comment.
Okay.
Right?
So I have not seen it, but I need to look at that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's
I
like
think everybody's looking. Yeah.
It's like reading a book.
Right, everybody, looks for it. So there's usually like a group, a same group comes, and some people share it with others on their Facebook pages and stuff. So it's nice, and I'm able, because at the time I was thinking like, what can I do to help people during the pandemic? And there was like a meditation guy out of the David Lynch Foundation. He's still doing it. He does meditations on an app every day. So he was doing that, and then there's another Buddhist psychologist who's having something every week to comfort people. And I thought, well, what can I do to help? So, yeah.
Okay.
It's a long explanation.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I think it's fascinating.
Thank you for it. Yeah, I think it is. You don't come up in my algorithm every day, but I read it quite often. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge everybody that's watching Detroit in Black and White. You know that you can catch Detroit in Black and White on all social media platforms. You also know what we want them to do, right? We want you to do this. Like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. To subscribe is free. You can also join us in the comment section, or you can use that link that's up there in the left-hand corner, and come on into the room. I want to give a shout out to Jill Sheridan. Good morning, Michael Bunch, DeWayla Boyce. Hey, D-Love, I called you. You didn't answer the phone. You know how I feel about that. Uh,
Kenneth Reed.
Kenneth Reed. Everybody that's joining us this morning. Derek Henry.
Deborah Harris.
Hey Deborah. Hey girl. Hey. And
Dominique.
Janet and Dominique and Janet overall. She follows. She does her homework every single day. So we want to give a shout out to you guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to outrage of the week, and we're going to go in reverse order. We're going to go with Mr. Jim Nardone first. Then, hey Ira, hey Irene, and then we're
Is
going to
Ira
go
out
to
there?
Ira's out there. Then
Ira
we're going
Todd in the
And
to
house.
and then we're going to go to Eastside Al, and then myself. Okay.
Alea Rose. I don't know if I get this right. Alea Rose Wade, 957. Good morning to you. My apologies if I didn't get it right. So I'm at an outrage.
Mhm.
I'm gonna mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
I know we have some Lions fans out there, so we're gonna talk a little bit about football. So yesterday, the Lions released Taylor Decker. Taylor Decker played 10 years with the Detroit Lions, an offensive tackle. In the last 2 years, the Lions have lost their offensive line. Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Skipper, and Graham Glasgow. And they're called the Big Uglies, right? These are the 300, 350-pound guys that are in the middle of the lineup, and they fight for the Lions. They fight for their quarterback. They fight for their running backs, and they're not acknowledged as often, right? So the Fords brought these guys in. Ragnow was a first-round draft choice. Taylor Decker was a first-round draft choice. And they are gone now. So I think people need to recognize, if there's some Lions fans out there, if Jared Goff's having a good game, if he's having a bad game, they blame it on the quarterback. It's not. It's these men that give their bodies and go and fight every day on the offensive line. And it's a sad day for Detroit with these guys didn't get their Super Bowl. And Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow, the Ford should have brought them a team earlier. These guys were the anchor of that football team, and I'm really disappointed that neither of those guys got a Super Bowl ring. And
I think people this year in particular realized how important the offensive line was, because the Lions were so erratic. The running backs, we had two amazing running backs, Gibbs and Montgomery, who some games they were just shut down because the offensive line was not good enough to open holes for them. And these guys were injured all the time. And Taylor Decker, I think the problem was, you've got a guy who's pretty beaten up and ragged, and he wants to come back for whatever, $20 million. And they were saying you need to get a cheaper contract. We'll see. I have a feeling he might want to regret not negotiating a contract, because I don't know what team's gonna. I mean, he's really good. He's one of the greats on the
Pro
team.
Bowler. Ragnow had 4 Pro Bowls. And,
he's
Taylor
good,
Decker had
but how many teams want to take somebody at that? The span of opportunity is so short for these players, because they get the shit beat out of them every Sunday, and so they know they only have a limited time. But we lose sight if we hear a player's only making $2 million. We think that's poverty wages in the sports world. Like that's nothing. But I mean, look, the NBA has some players. Like the Knicks has a player who's making $50 million a year. So when a player's making only $1 million or $2 million, but even the players, the guys, I don't know what the minimum in the NBA is, probably $1 million or something like that. We think like, oh my God, that's nothing. But in the real world, like, give me $1 million a year, man, and I'm highly successful, and So
with this move, my question is this supposed to be a good thing? Is this a good thing for the Lions moving forward? I don't keep up with football anymore.
The answer is he's overpaid for the hell. So here's what people don't understand. Taylor Decker, 32 years old. Frank Ragnow, 29 years old. These guys went to battle every day, all the time, and they don't get the recognition that I think they deserve. And again, it goes to the running back. Why did Goff only throw for 260 yards? It's because somebody wasn't blocking for him, right? You look at Matthew Stafford, all those years he was here, and how many times he was running for his life. When they brought these guys in, things changed.
I think the one thing the NFL at some point is going to pay for their greed, and the greed is they've expanded the number of games. They've got a lot more games on.
But you guys are salivating. You guys want it.
But it's
it.
the players' bodies can't take.
I
Instead of going
agree.
from 14 games to 17, it's 3 more games of getting the shit beat out of you. And then they've added Wednesday night, Thursday night games now. So some of these guys play on Sunday. They haven't healed from the last beating, and they're getting beat up again. And the NFL is going to pay for this because they're wildly popular. They're expanding they're doing games in Europe and all that, but they're going to pay for it. These players are going to be crippled and just.
And thank you, Kenneth. Thank you.
Do you watch?
I do.
Expansion? Okay.
I do.
Thank you, Jay.
The problem.
Thank you, Jay, for your.
I'm like a crack. It's like Mexico.
Anybody that's participating now, you hear him sitting up here fussing about they're going to pay for it, but guess what?
Thank you, Jay, for your comment. But there's only one Patrick Mahomes, and there were some not dual threat quarterbacks that were kind of successful, like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and the list goes on. So.
Well, Vanessa asked if I'm watching. I said it's kind of like the U.S. complaining about fentanyl and all the drugs and stuff like that, where we're the consumers. In Mexico, they'll say, hey, it's not all our fault. You guys have customers. You're not dealing with that. You're the consumer. So, yeah, we're the consumers of the NFL. And the games, look, the Lions games are exciting, though.
And the NFL is making a whole lot of money because
they
you
are.
guys are watching.
So they are.
Spending 10-15 minutes talking about the NFL.
But they're going
I don't watch. I got off crack years ago.
And Les is not wrong. See, you wonder if your support for this brutal sport encourages early death. And when we talk about linemen, they go the earliest. They're probably 60 years old. A lot of them don't live that long.
And it's a blood sport. I mean, really, it is war. When you think of it's the modern day Roman gladiators. They go into this Colosseum and they just pummel each other and beat on each other, and they get carried off in stretchers, and they get season-ending injuries and stuff like that. It's every game. There's somebody, with the Lions, it seems every game somebody's being wheeled off the field, and that's it for the
with
season.
Their beer, their peanuts, their popcorn, and it's like, take it, take a knee. Then they roll somebody else out, and let's go, let's do this.
And again, thank you, Jay,
Not
for your.
me.
I'm sorry. Comment on JJ McCarthy. Unfortunately, I think JJ's on his way somewhere else very shortly. And Kenneth, rebuilding since 1957. Thank you. And the Red Wings, Karen C. Stafford's a perfect example of what we need. A guy who's what? What? Elusive. Matthew Stafford. He's got a Super Bowl because that's because he had a defense. He was here for 10 years. Had one of the best. He had a guy called Megatron, Calvin Johnson, probably the best, and Golden Tate, and the list goes on. He's a guy that. He's okay. Look at his stats. I'm not a big Matthew Stafford fan.
I'm going to comment on your outrage about the NFL. I will say this. This morning on the way driving in, I was talking to someone. I said, I want to talk about Sharon Moore. They said, Vanessa, stay away from football. You don't even watch it. So don't even bring it up. Okay? But I'm going to bring it up. It ain't my outrage. I will bring it up. I think it's very interesting from a legal perspective. This guy was charged with 3 felonies.
In Washtenaw County.
And guess what? He pled to 2 misdemeanors. Get the freak out of here. You knew when you charged that you could not meet the burden of proof, the elements of those 3 felonies. That's all I got to say.
But they always overcharge.
Always. And you know what? It makes it very, very frustrating for us that's on the other side. This is some bull. Now we got to fight this, It's ridiculous. But guess what? It's the system that we live in.
But they see
Has
it
justice
as
been served?
Yes, I mean.
You think so?
Well, I
You
think.
think when people overcharge, when the
No,
prosecutor,
no.
you think justice is being
No,
served?
no. I'm not saying that, but I think it's basically it's a negotiation tactic, as you know, that you overcharge, and then they say, okay, we'll plead to a misdemeanor. If you charge them with the misdemeanor, they're like, hey, we're going to fight the misdemeanor.
And should.
Worst that happens, I get convicted of a misdemeanor, but nobody wants to be convicted of a felony, so they say, no, give me the misdemeanor. And that's just the way the system works. Is it right or wrong? I
No,
mean,
and you know what? He probably said, I'm not representing him, but he probably said, you know what? I'll go ahead and take this L because I'm not going to keep paying this lawyer to go through all of this. It's not necessarily because you really believe that you're guilty of this. I mean, they did some shabby work. But anyway, I just want to make that comment about football. I know.
And is there a possibility those misdemeanor charges will be expunged?
He probably can.
Yeah.
He can expunge those, have those expunged. But look at how, I remember you guys talking about it, and I didn't really weigh in a whole lot, but on social media, especially women, that's what he get. That's a shame, blah, blah. Listen, this is something I tell people all the time. Listen.
Les Littleton.
Don't nobody know what's going on between a husband and a wife, but that husband and that wife. I don't care if you're a kid of the marriage.
Yeah, but what about the girlfriend and the other
don't
girlfriend?
Nobody know.
And the
Don't
DMs
nobody,
and
she
all
don't
the
know.
things.
All she knows
What about the
he
DMs of the
said.
stripper?
All she
Well,
knows.
they got the paperwork.
All they know is what he says. Don't nobody know what's really going on between that husband and that wife.
I'm not talking
But
about
them.
that. Well,
All
but
I'm
that's
saying.
But what about, okay, you can talk about the husband and the wife, but what about the husband and the girlfriend? What about the husband and the stripper?
She knows she the side
What
piece. And let me tell you something about these side pieces. You know that you done bought into being on the side. You're supposed to be on the side, in the closet, in the back, or whatever. They always want to step up front. Always. And how do I know? Y'all know I was married. And y'all know. Y'all don't know. He had side piece. And I'm like, stay. Keep your.
Thank
Don't
you,
knock
Ayla
on my
Rosemary.
door. Don't send me a text message. Don't send me a message in the bottle. You know what your role is, just like on the football field. You know what your role is. So I don't feel sorry for those side pieces because you know what? You know what you're buying into. And the men's side, that goes for the men's side.
This is about a crime. This isn't about sex.
Whatever.
Why are you bringing up sex
I
in the
didn't
middle of a
I didn't say
crime? Who
anything
cares
about
a
sex. But you
crime?
know what? Who said anything about sex?
I did.
I didn't talk about the sex because I don't know what they were doing. They could have just been rubbing feet together.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
probably
know.
what they were doing.
Wow.
Ayla Rose.
That's a
That
start.
could have been. Look, that could have just been bonding. It could have
They
just
were
been
probably bonding,
emotional,
that's right.
emotional bonding. We don't know. We have no idea. Okay, that was not my outrage.
So the Cowboys. So Ayla
Wow.
Rose says the Cowboys didn't
What's
beat us.
going on there?
And Deborah Harris, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, has urged the Trump administration to take care of Iran for good. Well, those are war hawks out there arguing that the military actions, talking about
I have an opinion on that, but
who is most protected from injury is the QB, G Money. Thank you, G Money. You can't touch quarterbacks now. I know it's a little different game. Some of them can get out of the way, as was pointed out earlier. Some of them know how to get out of the way, and some just can't. History doesn't repeat itself even in this current regime. What does anybody expect? Dorian shaking his head. Les Moore talks about high school and college football needs to go to. And Karen Winston asked about the Red Wings. They just get out and fight it out in the ice, which is a whole different game.
The whole conversation has changed.
I like Ayla Rose. Stafford's a perfect example of what we need. Yeah. Well, we had him, and he didn't win shit. That's all I can say about Matthew Stafford. With Ndamukong Suh and Ziggy Ansah and all these superstars, but it was never his fault.
Jill, we gotta take a break. We're gonna come back to Detroit Black and White. Thank you for joining this live conversation. We're gonna go next. When we come back, we're going to go to Eastside Al.
all right.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
What the heck?
All right.
Detroit in black or white?
Conversation not for public airing.
So my assignment was, let's not talk about Iran today. So that's where I was going.
Oh, I was going to say
But you're
something.
going to talk about Iran. So that's why I was trying to
Wait a minute, they
sidetrack
said, let's
everybody.
hear Allan's
So-
opinion on the war.
So
Okay.
Deborah, my job was to sidetrack Allan today, and I did it for a minute. But
Yeah. All right, I'll try to not get too deep into it, but I think what's happened with this war is, when you go
Which
in
one, Allan?
the Iran war, I think when you go in with not a clear message, without a realistic mission, and I think what's happened there, I think everyone thought, okay, they're going for 4 or 5 days, they'll bomb some installations and stuff, and inevitably in war, something happens beyond tragic, and a bomb falls on a school where over 100 children are killed, and then suddenly what you have here is the tragedies of war. I mean, if you're just blowing up other people's missiles, you're like, all right, we can live with that. But what's happening now, I mean, they say regime change. It's like we saw Gaddafi in Libya, he got toppled. It's now just, it's a mess in Libya. We've seen, Iraq really isn't, we've got a base in Iraq, but they're really not, they're closer aligned with Iran than they are with the US, frankly. And so what we have here is just, I think it's getting out of control. Now you have the Kurds they're Muslim, I think they're Sunni Muslim, and they want to go into Iran now and fight. And so, we see Iran is trying to make it into a regional war. They're bombing all these other countries and stuff like that. It's a mess. And in the end, it's like, what's the purpose? I mean, our gas prices are going up. Inflation, we can see that our economy is not as strong as Trump would like to make it seem. We had a loss of 92,000 jobs last month. The unemployment rate went up. And, the war is just, and it's a distraction. Some people say it's a distraction for the Epstein case. I mean, there's some really, who knows if it's true or not, but there's some damaging FBI files now on an allegation by a teenager against Trump. But who's going to, and the same thing with Netanyahu in Israel. He's supposed to be on trial for corruption, but he keeps getting into wars. So I just think that we have to rethink. I mean, war should be the last thing, not, you've got people like Pete Hegseth who trusts that guy, to be wise and have some wisdom here. It's like, Colin Powell, people like that, they were in war. They realized the horrors of war. And so they're more reluctant to just jump in for the sake of it. But Pete Hegseth's like, yeah, we got weapons. And Trump's like, yeah, why do we have all these weapons if we can't use them? But people are dying. And, it's the world is, each one of those bombs sometimes is, I don't know, worth like $1 million.
we spent almost $3 billion. But I'm going to ask you a question,
Sure.
if I could. So we talked about this a little bit last night on the show, and I wish you were there to going to get your reaction to it. So we can argue about war, we can argue about all these things, but isn't the world a better place if? And we didn't really get any comments last night. So we're talking about 30 up to 32,000 people in Venezuela, 32 million people in Venezuela that have the potential to be free, 93 million people in Iran, 10 million people in Cuba. Is it better that we are where we are today, or was it better 6 months ago? Is my question. And isn't it hopeful that maybe 130 million people can live under a free government? When you talk about Iraq, if they have no plan, then it's probably not better.
Iraq or Iran?
Iraq. You know, the plan was to make it a free country, and it didn't work out because the Taliban are in charge. And you make that point, but isn't it better to have hope for that 150 million people, or is it not? I guess is my question.
Yeah, I guess the question becomes how you create that. But it's like all these things that we're doing. We're saying, you know, Trump says, go ahead in there. Okay, Iranian people, now's your chance. We're going to make it. Well, look, they don't have militias in Iran. They don't have armed people. Guess who has the arms? It's still the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. They've got the arms. These people aren't going to, fight these people with massive weaponry and stuff like that?
But they're fighting back. Iran is getting arms from somewhere, and there are people in command there because they're fighting back. So I think the world is surprised that Iran is fighting back, that they have.
Well, look, Iran has been giving drones to Russia, you know, and so I'm sure, you know, Russia's strapped by their war in Ukraine. China, you know, is probably, you know, helping out and stuff like that. So it's not surprising. I mean, when you look at Hezbollah still, you know, Israel supposedly decimated them a while ago, and they're firing rockets. You know, Hamas could still find ways to fire rockets if they had to, you know.
And Jay makes the point.
No, go ahead.
Jay makes the point. Are they going to be under the United States oversight? And that should not ever be the plan, right? Our job isn't to colonize these countries. Our job is to, I don't know what our job is. My question to you and to our viewers. Go ahead, please.
Our job is to take care of home. Listen, we got a guest that came in. We can't keep ignoring him.
Sure.
He came on into the room. He followed the assignment. We're asking other people to come on into the room.
Sure.
Good morning, Les Little. You weigh in. We
Thank
don't know
you,
what
Wes.
you want to talk about.
I want to just answer to DeBragg. It's not propaganda. I'm asking a question, DeBragg. Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing that the potential for 130 million people to be free is a good or a bad thing?
Theoretically, yes, it's a great thing.
But that's not propaganda. That's a question.
Right, that's a question. I mean, theoretically, yes, but you know, in reality, how do you accomplish that? And we've failed so many times.
When we've lost 35,000 people that were gunned down in the streets, most of them students, by the Iranian government, I guess that's not propaganda.
Right.
There's evidence.
You asked a legitimate question. Okay, Les, what's up?
Well, good morning, fellow patriots. You know, Vanessa.
For the second time, because I saw you this morning.
I saw you. I thank you for joining in the show. You know, I talked about the subject at hand on my show.
Did you talk
and I want to thank Allan and Jim. You know, reason I called.
Wait a minute. You said the subject at hand. Are we talking about
Good
football?
morning.
Both of them, really. I wasn't talking about, if you listen to the show, Vanessa, you know I wasn't talking about football on my show, okay? But I called because Jim talked about football, and you know, that was always been my pet peeve about having a quarterback. In the future of football, you need a running quarterback, and we ain't had one in a little while. You know, even Matthew Stafford wasn't running football, and Jared Goff is definitely not. You know, so I think we lost a lot when Ben Johnson left. His play calling helped us go a long way. So that another subject matter. But I wanted to talk about one of the question you just put out about 150, thousand, a million people?
Million
okay, a million people. You know, are they under duress? That's up to them to decide what their government should be like. See, we have decided, and I said this is two countries, it's states united against African America. And we in African America have always decided what our faith is. We put our lives on the line for the Constitution, no right to vote. So when we want to meddle with other people's government, I think it's wrong. You know, and it's all history that's documented that you will stabilize regimes that are doing well for the people for the most part. You know, you Gaddafi, you toppled him when everybody in this country was doing good. It was no homeless people. Everybody had a choice to get educated. So now look at them, what's going on now. So, and even here in this state, they toppled a great educational form that we had control of in Detroit. And everybody want to make excuses about, oh, we don't know how to educate our children. The States United never give a freaking care about how we was educated before. Now you care. Now we got $93 million in the bank and $1.5 billion to keep our schools up, and an ideology to have African-centered studies from K to 12. Then that's when you came in. So, the hypocrisy in this country is stifling. And you guys, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, since y'all not African Americans, y'all don't know the African American experience. So that's all I can say.
Okay. All right. So I want to do my outrage. Listen, people want to talk about this side piece situation. We can talk about that. I do think that sometimes we need to have a show when we talk about relationships, or situationships, or whatever you want to call them. All right. But
love, according to Vanessa.
Love according to Vanessa. I'm not an authority on that. I'm only an authority on Vanessa Moss. There used to be Vanessa Moss Wilson, right? Listen, I heard a rumor about me the other day. An attorney tells me a rumor about me dating someone. I was like, what? Are you kidding? That I moved out the state of Michigan to be with somebody who went to prison.
Wow. I heard that story. No,
you heard that? Not true. Listen, I graduated from Detroit Public Schools.
What school? What high school did you graduate?
I graduated from McKenzie, which every school that I attended, with the exception of the one that was on the east side, has been
Is it still open?
It's closed.
Yeah.
Every school that I've attended has been closed.
My friend's father was the principal at McKenzie, and I think the place got firebombed when he was there.
Oh wow! I went there a year and a half. So I graduated, but before that I went to Detroit. Anyway, I went to 7 schools before I graduated. But anyway, I digress. Listen, my outrage is this. I know all of you guys heard about this story, about this young man out in East Point, had his baby in the car.
Oh.
The car was towed by the police, taken to a tow yard on Thursday night. On Saturday morning, they hear this baby crying. He's stuck between the car seat and the door.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Well, that's what they say. And the police obviously didn't look in the car, or didn't do a good job of looking in the car to see if somebody was in it before they towed the vehicle. Okay. But the mother went to the police station a couple of days later after the baby was missing. Listen, so many people dropped the ball on this. It's outrageous. It's crazy. It is super duper crazy. And the way this thing has been rolled out, split second decision. You jump out the car to do what, I don't know if he was going to somebody's house. Maybe you guys can.
Well, it wasn't a split second decision because he left the car there until it got towed.
Then they come and tow it. Nobody looks. Don't you guys usually have a flashlight?
Well, see, you're blaming it on the cops. You like to do that. How do you know?
That's right.
How do you know somebody screwed up really bad? But let me ask you this.
Look in the back and see if anybody in there. That's what you do.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you know it was a police and not a parking enforcement officer?
Because that's what the news said. And
that must be true.
I'm just playing.
We don't know who towed the car. Whoever did it screwed up bad.
Right.
If it was a cop, it was a parking enforcement. That's my outrage,
because that baby was there from Thursday
That's unbelievable.
to Saturday.
Somebody screwed up bad.
That's my outrage.
5 people screwed up bad.
Absolutely.
The guy that left the car, the mother,
the mama,
the person that called on the car without looking in the car, the people that towed the car, they're the most responsible, and the tow yard for not noticing.
Absolutely.
So you can go on, but it's ridiculous that a baby would be in a tow yard for 2 days. And you can blame the police agency is responsible. I'm just suggesting to you that there's a possibility that it was somebody that just writes parking tickets that went and towed the car.
From a former prosecutor. But that's my outrage.
Who's the prosecutor? You mean police officer?
Yeah, I'm calling you the prosecutor. I'm calling the prosecutor.
Well, somebody.
I'm calling you the po-po and the prosecutor.
We'll call it the city screwed up bad. Harper Woods? We'll say it's the city.
I thought it was East Point.
I think it's Harper Woods.
Let me see. Let me check my receipts.
Regardless, whether it's a
Yeah,
police
but
officer
that's
that didn't
my
do his
outrage.
job or parking lot, somebody screwed up.
Yeah.
And they should be
So-
fired, if you ask me.
Yeah, so thank God that the child is fine. Thank God that he was found alive.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank God. Now, what's going to happen after this is
Thank you,
interesting.
Ira.
Dad has been charged. I wonder if Child Protective Services, I'm sure they're involved. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's got 5 or 6
So-
kids, right? Why did he leave his kid there? It's kind of the question. And
If he got 5 or 6, maybe he forgot. I mean, I don't know.
I saw this guy, Nick.
Exactly.
Well, Nick, is it Nick
And we're
Cannon?
making a joke out of it, but it
It's
really
not
is
funny.
serious. It's not funny. We're making a joke out of it. It's Saturday morning. I told you guys last night. What did I tell you when we got off the show?
You don't
I
want to
said-
talk about Iran.
No, I also I told everybody. I said, listen, I want to go and get in the bed because I was tired, and I said tomorrow I'll be wide awake. I'm wide awake this morning.
So who's this Nick Cannon guy? He's like 35 years old. He's got 12 kids, and they showed him on. Is he an actor or musician or something?
He all that,
So
and he's a good sperm donor because he got all those doggone kids.
well, they showed him on.
Wild and out.
He's got
he's
12
an actor.
kids. How do you have 12 kids?
You rich? You can have 12 kids. Look,
Wow.
Eddie Murphy got a lot of kids. Who else? Elon Musk has a lot of kids. Don't be picking on my. Don't be picking on.
I don't know who he is. I just saw him at the amusement park. They said he's with 3 of his 12 kids. Well, you
He
need
can
a whole
afford
car. You need the
He's
whole.
surrounding the law. What you think?
And he can afford them, though. He can afford
Yeah,
them.
he can afford 'em.
Okay? That's the bottom line.
I don't know why it's big news, but it was on Entertainment Tonight, right?
No,
3
I
of his
don't know
12
why.
kids.
I don't know. Ira says if a child's towed in a vehicle, everyone involved should be held accountable.
I agree, Ira.
All right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Talking from
Right.
a true
Yes.
investigator.
So
Yes.
I wanted to say it's
Yes.
Women's
History Month.
History Month.
Mhm.
I want to say it was really incredible. This country has not had a woman president, because when you look around all the nations, I think there's like 24 nations around the world that have. I mean, Mexico has a woman president. You know, Germany has had one. Israel's had one. Britain, Pakistan. Denmark, it goes on and on and on, and it's so amazing that the impediments here for not having, I mean, that's half our population, and you know, the fact that we have not had, and we've come close twice to having it, but
Did we come close?
well, I think with Hillary, it was, you know,
It will happen within the next 10
Hillary
years.
and
Within the next 2 elections.
and this last election, you know, I mean,
You know what I like to see a woman face off against another woman in the next election. I think that would be outstanding.
Yeah.
I think
That's what I said, cat fight.
whoever, whether
And I
it's
know they'll be posted up like, what's
whether it's
going
Vice
on?
President
What's
Harris
going on?
against Governor Haley, whatever the case is, I think that would be.
I think I
outstanding.
thought Nikki, you know, I mean, of the two between Trump and Nikki Haley, I thought, oh my gosh, I mean, Nikki Haley's like, you know, I don't agree with a lot of
Sure.
her stand, but she was reasonable, smart, not, you know, I thought the choice was so simple, but you know, Trump annihilated her.
Yes.
And is it because she's a woman? But I mean, she was clearly qualified. I mean, she served as a governor. She served as the ambassador to the UN. She knew foreign policy. And I just find it amazing. You know, I mean, we see Gretchen Whitmer. I think she's going to try, but you know, I was going to write a column about this. I think she still doesn't. I don't think she's quite presidential material. I think maybe vice presidential material. But you know, the latest thing was she got a ticket to go to attend the hockey. I think the women's hockey, and she wouldn't. And the Detroit News made a front page story out of it because she wouldn't say who paid for the ticket. And all you have to, I mean, there's a way of artfully saying it, or just saying, look, the person who's given, I can assure you it's this or that, but they don't want their name being disclosed or something. But the way it was handled, in the same way that when she flew down to Florida during the pandemic, she turned one story into 5 stories. She kept changing her story. I paid for this, and suddenly we find out her bodyguards are on the plane, and suddenly we find out that her kids flew back, and she just said, I paid for my one ticket, and then she ended up paying $20,000 out of a fund, and it turned into a little bit of a mini scandal. And I tell people, and I've talked to law enforcement and stuff, where I go and give a talk, and I always say, get out everything that you can. I said, don't let it drip, drip, drip. Don't turn one story into 5 stories. Be
get in front of the story.
And
That's
don't
what
lie.
Adolph says.
And don't lie.
Get
Cover
in front of the story. Don't let the story get behind you. Get in front of the story.
Jim,
somebody says-
Allan, can I ask you a question?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Because you're in the news, would you consider that a strategy to keep your name out into the paper? You know, her name has been in the paper, good, bad. They say there's no such thing as negative publicity in as long as you get your name out there. And it seems like this country never cares what you've done, but we wouldn't have the president we got now.
Right. Well, that, you know, I think he's an exception. I think really he's really, this is my biased opinion, I think he's reached sort of cult status where it doesn't matter really. I mean, even now the FBI documents are coming out about a 13, 14-year-old saying that she, you know, administered oral sex to him and stuff like that, whether it's true or not.
Administered.
Well, offered or offered her services for whatever, and is that damage?
Right.
Is that
That's what
damaging
it's
to him?
called.
I think that you know, at some point there's a tipping point. I mean, he's got more than 9 lives. He's got 27 lives. But I think a person like Whitmer, I think it hurts, because I think in the end, anything, I mean, I think Kamala Harris was so afraid to talk at times during the campaign because she was so worried they would grab a little snippet and use it as a commercial and say, Kamala Harris says this.
She wasn't too afraid, because I remember that commercial they showed her. Hey,
that was before she was running for president. But I
I'm
mean,
just kidding.
so I think there are, I don't subscribe to that.
Karen
That
C.
any publicity is good publicity, but with some people like Trump, you know, short of, I think he's reaching a tipping point here, because I think the MAGAs, look, the rape allegations didn't matter to the supporters. The, you know, whatever, the conflicts of interest doesn't matter. But I think the one thing underage, even among the MAGAs, I think it's.
Are you just hoping, or are you just thinking?
I think.
Would it surprise you if any of those billionaires, any of that billionaire class, were taking advantage of underage women, whether it's the president, whether it's what's his name, Bill Gates, or you can name the billionaire. They own people. That's how they live their lives, and nothing would surprise me at this point. Want to get to some comments?
Yeah, I want to get to some comments. Okay, Allan, they are dying with you using administered.
Administered. Karen C.
I tried to figure out what's a better word. Given, participated in. I don't know, but
Is it a participation though?
I was going to say something, but
Do you
people,
get a
look, people may say that's not. You shouldn't say things like that. That's not becoming of a judge. I was going to say something else.
Thank you, Mike, on the Palestinian issue.
Right.
I think,
Terry McCrimmon says Wine voted overwhelmingly against Hillary and Kamala in the 2 elections. They were the leading candidate in the other party. Pocahontas. What happened? What happened?
somebody said I'd like to see Ellen.
I'd like to see Ellen propose to hooker for.
Thanks, Leslie.
So, excuse me. Were you? How much to administer oral sex?
So less is more: toxic air, food, racism, colorism, oligarch, terror, etc. You pretty much described the United States of America. Les, thank you. Ayla Rose, having kids at any time is a blessing. Yes, Ayla, I was not criticizing. I just thought it was interesting that it would be on Entertainment Tonight that they pointed out that the gentleman had 12 kids. And to me, I don't know him. I didn't know he's married to Mariah Carey.
I think it's interesting because
I just think he's a
lot
young
of them,
man.
yeah, a lot of them have a lot of kids, and if he can afford it, that's his doggone business.
Oh, I'm not being critical.
No, I didn't think so. I mean, the host of The Masked Singer, I like his show Wild and Out. You know, I love comedians. One of my favorite movies that he was in was Drumline. He was married to Mariah Carey.
Yeah, that's what one of our viewers said.
He was married to Mariah Carey. So, I mean, you know, and then some of those women, I've seen them on, you know, the reality shows on Netflix, like Selling Sunset, or one of those reality shows, one of his children's mothers on there. But at any rate,
Mike Bunch points out a good president in Mexico. And Timothy again, your grandmother had 13 kids. God bless your grandma. That's what I can say about that. It was a different world in 19 whatever it was.
I don't know how the body can withstand 13.
That's a miracle. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
Miss
My,
Suzuki.
my sister-in-law, who's Yemeni, she came up from a family of 21, but her father had 2 wives.
And Timothy again, I was not being critical. He can do. I don't care if he has 25 kids. I don't know why it was on Entertainment Tonight. Why they thought it was important to say he's with 3 of his 12 kids. That's all I saw, and I thought, well, why are they talking about that?
Let's go to break, and then we're gonna come back Saturday morning live at the Guardian Building, Detroit in black and white.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
What's going on? Welcome back to Detroit in black and white, our Saturday morning's edition. We're a bit lively this morning, but we need to be. We need this. We need the laughter. We need the fun. We need that. There's so much darkness that's going on around the world. So somebody said quid pro quo sounds about right.
Deborah Harris, I loved her comment.
All right, Taylor, what Deborah say?
Thank you, Deborah. Administered sexual affairs refer to the exchange of sexual acts for professional or personal gain, often constituting quid pro quo. I just can't help but think of the exchange Allan Lengel would have with a professional sex worker. I'm sorry. It's like, ma'am, would you like to administer an act on my behalf for a amount of money?
How much currency might you charge?
I think what we figured out
of a sexual nature relating to.
I think we figured out Allan has never met a prostitute.
I've never used the service of a prostitute, but I was propositioned a couple times.
What did she say?
Once in New York City, I'm visiting some friends. I stay at the Hilton in Midtown Manhattan, and this woman, probably in her 30s, which I should have suspected right away that she would even have any interest. And she's
like in Las Vegas. Why is she talking to me?
She sat next to me, and she goes, and she starts. So are you here with family? No. Are you here for business? No, just for fun. I'm, hanging out with friends. And then she goes, well, how about, would you like to go up to your room and have a massage? And I said, I think I'm okay.
So did she say administer? Did she use the word administer?
In Manhattan. And then a little bit later during the conversation, she said, come on, only $250 for a massage.
You said $2.50? That doesn't sound bad.
I had just broken up with my girlfriend, and
because
we
she
were probably
wasn't
going to get.
administering.
No, there was no issue there. But I was probably getting back together with her anyway. So I told her, I said, look, I just broke up with somebody, but I think they're getting back together. She goes, well, you don't have to tell her. And I say, no, I'd have to tell her.
You take a master.
Yes, right. Well, you saw the Seinfeld episode where George Costanza.
I never saw the show.
George Costanza is on the train and he's going for a job interview, and a woman is coming on to him. So they go back to the hotel, and suddenly she's like, okay. She handcuffs him. He's in his underwear, handcuffs him to the bed. She goes, okay, I'm going to go in the bathroom and undress. And she comes out dressed, and she starts looking through his wallet and says, what the hell you've only got? He goes, you're robbing me?
Oh, Lord.
And she took his suit.
Oh, my God. Well, let the record reflect. I have never been, no one has ever approached me and propositioned me for any kind of service.
And then once in Israel, I was propositioned.
At least I've never had to pay for it. I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Ira.
$2.50.
Thanks, Jay. We're glad you're laughing. You know, there's so much seriousness in this
Right.
world.
There's so much
Stephanie
darkness in this
Jackson,
world.
good morning, Stephanie. No, it just broke up. I can't have sex with you because I just broke up with my girlfriend and we're getting back together next week.
Listen, the conversation evolved from sad pieces.
Well, you started it.
No, I started. You started.
You started with Sharon Moore.
Well, yeah, she's a sad piece. I'm sorry. She's a sad piece. And she's busy trying to get paid. Lady, go and have a seat somewhere. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I'm sorry. Okay. And people were dogging out his wife. Listen, they took vows for better or for worse.
Mostly for worse.
For richer. Who are we?
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just saying, seriously. Who are we to judge?
We're
Because
not.
people do that
We're
a
not.
lot. They judge people relationships and they
I'm
say,
not judging
well, I
anybody.
wouldn't stay with him. Well, you're not with him. And you have not experienced what she experienced with him. You have not walked a day in that woman's shoes. So stay out these people's business.
Right.
Out their bedroom business, out their bathroom business, out their office business, out their administration business. Stay
Thank
out
you.
their business.
Thank you, Stephanie. She
Whatever.
probably left Allan her number. No, I think what she did is she gave Allan $20 and said, "Why don't you go away?"
Right. You're hopeless.
She needed him to go away.
We need to take a break. We did take a break. We need to take another break. And then
I
We're
said
coming
real
back with Les
quick,
Little.
an ATF supervisor once said, I tell my men, you go to a bar and someone much younger comes and starts propositioning you. She's probably a hooker.
Now, was this a black guy or a white guy? This is probably a white guy. Because the black guy would have said, she probably a how. Okay, we're going to shoot the commercial.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
We're back, Detroit Black and White, our Saturday morning's edition. Listen, we thank you guys so much for joining us in the conversation, in the comment section, and let's decide to come on into the room. Listen, this is a light Saturday. We know we have a lot of serious issues that's going on, not only in the city of Detroit, but in the United States and around the world. But today we decided to make it light on this rainy day. The conversation has evolved, and we love that. And Allan wants to make a comment before we shot to break. So go ahead,
No,
Allan.
that was it about the ATF agent.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. You want to go to some comments?
First, I want to say thank you for joining Pillow Talk with Les Little, Allan Lengel, and Vanessa Moss.
Remember that? What was the guy's name?
Oh, it's a show called
Allan something.
Allan Allman.
Allan
Oh,
Allman.
yeah, so it was Allan. Is that your
What
stage
did they
name?
talk about?
Oh,
What did they talk about?
Kenneth Powell,
it was
thank
just a
you.
night- It was a night show, but he had a really deep
Yeah.
voice, and he tried to be
Pillow
sort of
Talk.
seductive. You go, welcome to Pillow Talk.
Oh, so will people turn the lights out and listen to him?
And he played romantic music.
Thank you, Les. I enjoy the rain too. It's bringing springtime. 101.3, Jay says, was Allan Allman and Pillow Talk. Congress needs to stay out of college sports and NIL. That's crazy. That's crazy, Terry. Thank you for your comments. Yeah, I don't understand why they want to be involved in everything. Janet's having fun. Mike Bunch says, quit picking on Allan. I don't think we were picking on him. Imagine if sex workers were illegal in this country. Timothy, thank you, Timothy. You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of, we talk about exploitation, and, that's an unfortunate result of those things. And we're having fun, but, we need to talk about the exploitation of people and why it's not good. Saturday Sex Show, Ira says. He has probably a better name than me.
All right.
Good conversation,
I think
Karen.
Ira could add quite a bit to this conversation.
Oh, I'm sure he could.
Who's that?
Ira Todd.
Les,
Oh, he
Les
got a
says
lot of
nobody
experience. Is that
cares.
what
She
you're
probably
saying?
left Allan.
Man
Are we
about
boring
town.
you,
He's a
Les?
man
I'm sorry
about
for
town.
boring you. Taylor Made Media, thanks for tuning in this morning. And Jay's laughing, and Allan still got that $2.50 on his dresser waiting for the next experience.
The next administration.
Not just broke up, Stephanie.
Right.
Don't let Allan fool you. Timothy says he knows how to. So he's just acting with us. He's acting like he don't know what's going on. And Terry talks about a man can father 100 kids in a year, but he wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it either. Be fruitful and multiply, says the Lord. Thank you, Dwayla. Cass Corridor. Allan probably covered it, Taylor Made says. Allan asked, do you take Visa or MasterCard? Where do you put the credit card? That's the one question I always have. Stephanie says he probably met one and didn't know it.
It's a reader, okay?
Terry again gave the
It's a reader.
ability to have a kid every year, their fertile life, so 20 kids by one woman. And I wouldn't recommend that, Terry. Nick Cannon was born into money. He's pretty well off financially, what I've read over there. That's the important thing, Kenneth. As long as he takes care of his kids. Trump has multiple kids, right? And there was something online about Trump having kids with all these different wives, and you're absolutely right.
I was just looking up Will Chamberlain, if you remember, the great basketball player. He, in his autobiography, said he had encounters with 20,000 women.
Yeah, I don't believe that. That's too many. I mean, I think he might be rounded up a little
I think
bit.
if you're an athlete,
She said rounded up a little bit.
I think you're an
how you
athlete
keep count.
and your libido is like out of control. I mean, the opportunities are just endless. I mean, there's,
Jason.
I was at the Lindell AC many years ago when the Tigers were still playing at Tiger Stadium. Lindell AC was a great sports bar on Michigan Avenue. Reggie Jackson was there, man. He had all these women at the bar, surrounding him. I mean, I think there's options there in the athletic world.
Oh yeah, there's you have options too. So listen,
I'm trying to make the team, the Pistons.
Right. I do want to acknowledge that March is History Month, and I do want to encourage people to check out the history of Marie Curie. She pioneered research on radioactivity. Of course, Rosa Parks, known as the mother of the freedom movement. Malala Yousafzai, she was born in 1997. She's the youngest Nobel Prize laureate. We also have Ada Lovelace, 1815 and 1852. She's a mathematician, author regards the first computer programmer for her work on Charles Babbage's analytical engine. Bessie Coleman, 1892-1926, the first African American and Native American woman to earn an international pilot's license. So the rest of this month, I will be making sure that I acknowledge Women's History Month. Jim has one as well. So go ahead, Jim.
So last night, one of a friend of the show came on, and I thought about her in Women's History Month, and Ira probably knows her. I'm sure he does. Her name is Joan Meriwether. All right, Joan didn't crack the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
She flew her helicopter right through that damn thing. So I just want to say thank you to Joan Meriwether. I worked with police officers. I came out in 1990. And the first police officer in our department was in 1986. And her world was difficult every day, right? You can see the old guys smoking cigarettes and talking about, negatively about women. And that was the world. And thank you to Joan Meriwether, who's run, who not only retired from Detroit, she went over to the county and worked in the jail, and she was a sergeant. And I'm going to tell you this. I have a friend that worked for Joan Meriwether and said, Joan always had my back. So that says more about Joan as a person, and she watches the show, and I'm just so thrilled that we have people like Joan Meriwether and Ira Todd, the people that are in my profession, and others, Taekwondo, some of these other folks that, the point is the people that watch that are part of this show I'm impressed. I mean, there's some great people, and she was a single, as Ira said, first female pilot at DPD, the first Black female helicopter pilot in law enforcement in this country, Joan Meriwether. Thank you, Joan.
Okay, so
We had her on our show.
We did.
We did.
She
a
ran
couple
for Wayne
times.
County Sheriff.
Yep. So I want to give a shout out to everybody who joined Detroit Black and White. Les, if you have a parting word said, so I can thank everybody. First of all, I want to say thank you. We all want to say
Yeah,
thank you
thanks,
for
Les.
joining in.
Appreciate that.
We have that link up there. We want you guys to come in the room. We're glad that you take advantage of it. Do you have anything that you want to say before?
Since it's Women's Month, Ida B. Wells Barnett. We have the local Dr. Reverend Joan Watson, Mary Ann Mahaffey, Barbara Rose Collins. We have a whole history of great women that lived in the city, and Vanessa Moss is one of them too. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, Judge Vanessa.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And Terry
absolutely.
recognizes
Thank you.
Harriet Tubman. Thank you, Terry McCrimmon, for recognizing Harriet Tubman.
So we're getting ready to go. We'll be back on Wednesday. But if you guys are looking for Detroit Black and White Reality Strikes on Monday evening, you can watch Eric Brown's show, 8:30. I want to give a shout out. Listen, Allan has talked about how he goes to Canada to get his work done. Listen,
Which work?
his teeth, you can't see them like I can.
It did a
Listen.
great. I had 2 implants
Listen.
done there. I saved. They wanted $7,000 for the implants without the crowns. Here, I paid $3,400 and same quality work, same product. I told the periodontist, I said, I have a friend who goes down to Mexico. He goes, don't do Mexico. They don't use the same parts. They do the same quality parts that we do, but we use the same ones as in the States. And it took me 20 minutes from my place in Midtown to get to the office in Windsor, and the periodontist was great. I'm going to write an article about it because I'd like more people to know about the options, because
That way we don't have to go to Turkey.
we see so many people, downtown. You walk around, you see some of the people with their teeth missing and stuff like that, because dental work is so expensive these days, and to pay out of pocket, the insurance only covers very limited. In fact, my insurance doesn't cover the implants. They did cover some of the crowns, but
Okay. All right. So good. Have a good rest of the Saturday morning, afternoon. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're out.